I'll take a pound of nuts.
That's a lot of nuts!
I power walk down to that pile of gummy bears and back. I should probably set the pile out further, or closer, so I can get at them.
And there we go. It's a good thing I checked. Once again, frickin' OBS just refused pick up my mic. I hate it. Want to throw it through the window. What I was saying was, welcome to the show called the Power Up Podcast, the show that talks about pop culture. That's what I was talking about. The good, the bad, the ugly, and supernatural / spiritual warfare when I can. Christian scripture perspective. So yeah, there you go. Everything is awful. I hate it. It sucks. It is very, very
Gay.
gay indeed. But we are here. We are back. What's Komanga laughing at me? That's all right. My pain is your pleasure. But yeah, we got some articles here coming on that we'll take a gander and see what is happening. Big ones. Spaceballs 2 has been announced. Watch the trailer. Kind of read up on it a little bit, but it looks like it's a go. Mel Brooks, 98 years old, I believe. Still planning to do it. That's awesome. And with that as well is also Silent Hill 1 Remake. Also announced, sadly, it looks like it's going to be done by Blooper Team. You may like the game. I personally, well, based on what I saw, I haven't played the game. But that's all right because, yeah, take a gander, look at other playthroughs and all that stuff. You can come to your conclusion. My biggest issue is how much they're going to change because that's what my issue was from Silent Hill 2. Certain elements were changed that did not need to be changed whatsoever. So who knows what they're going to be doing with 1. But you got to give credit to where credit is due with Silent Hill 2. So we'll be taking a look at that. And I've got other articles lined up as well here. Before we begin, if you are new, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I'm saying this because I'm typing something, a tab that I forgot to open. Turn on notifications to get notified when we go live, and check out the membership and subscription tiers over on YouTube and Rumble, and maybe Kick and Twitch as well. I say that because that is where we are currently live. We are super multi-streaming this time around. We are live at 5 different areas: YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, and X. Follow me all over there and feel free to support me, whichever platforms enjoy. But thanks a lot for hanging out with me and all that fun stuff. I'm just double checking everything, making it good. It does. I look good. Look fantastic. Let's hop into it. That was not the right setup. Everything is, like I said, is going terrible. I need Agent Paul Smecker. Help me, Willem Dafoe.
Fuck!
He also hates cold crime scenes, and I as well also hate cold crime scenes. So the first article hailing from that Park Place. This was a big thing that a lot of people were talking about, and that was Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Justin Baldoni. And it looks like the lawsuit gets tossed. Judge tosses Justin Baldoni's $400 million lawsuit against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Like this was announced today. Let's take a look at what that means. A federal judge has thrown out the explosive $400 million lawsuit filed by Justin Baldoni against It Ends With Us co-star Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds, marking a devastating setback for the embattled actor-director. Baldoni had accused the Hollywood couple and even the New York Times of defamation, extortion, and sabotage. Now those claims are off the table, and the judge isn't words. Judge Louis J. Lemon dismissed the entire lawsuit, finding that Lively's accusation of sexual harassment were protected by law and could not be the basis for a defamation suit. The ruling also shredded Baldoni's conspiracy allegation against the New York Times, calling the claims legally insufficient. Still, Baldoni isn't backing down. His attorney, Brian Friedman, issued a fiery statement to Variety, insisting the legal fight is far from over. So while the court dismissed the defamation-related claims, the court has invited us to amend 4 out of the 7 claims against Ms. Lively, Friedman said. This case is about false accusations of sexual harassment and retaliation in a non-existent smear campaign, which Ms. Lively's own team conveniently describes as untraceable because they cannot prove what never happened. Friedman also promised to take Lively's deposition and praised the internet sleuth community that continues to track the case. Lively's attorneys, however, aren't sweating it. They issued a scathing rebuttal to Baldoni's lawsuit on Tuesday. No amount of spin, bluster, or creative accounting from Baldoni's legal team will change the embarrassing realities staring them in the face, said attorneys Ezra Hudson and Mike Atalibib. I don't know how you pronounce that name, but there you go. The plan to sue Blake Lively and her family into oblivion has been a complete and total failure. Meanwhile, the legal spotlight is shifting. While Baldoni's case falters, Blake Lively's own lawsuit against Baldoni and his company, Wayfarer Studios, is moving ahead. In her federal complaint, Lively accused Baldoni of sexual harassment and retaliation on the set of Ends With Us and alleges the existence of a coordinated effort to smear her once she spoke out. That case is scheduled to go on trial in March 2026. But Baldoni had portrayed himself as the real victim in the aftermath of Lively's accusations, claiming the alleged smear campaign destroyed his career and led to canceled deals. He and his legal team filed the $400 million suit in a bold and now seemingly failed attempt to turn the narrative. Now, with the judge rejecting the defamation narrative outright and dismissing most of the claims, Baldoni is left and a few remaining contract-related lawsuit allegations. Whether those survive the next rounds of scrutiny remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, Baldoni's aggressive legal maneuvering has not paid off. Instead of reclaiming his reputation, he may now face a counteroffensive complete with a possible demand for legal fees, treble damages, and more. In Hollywood, that kind of blowback can sting far worse than a flop at the box office. Do you agree with the judge who threw out Baldoni lawsuit? I've kept up a little bit about this, and we all have seen the Depp versus Heard lawsuit. I don't know. In the end, they're all actors and actresses. So they try to say that they relate to the common folk, but they really don't. Let's see what the people say. Good. The First Amendment is absolute, so you can say whatever you want. Anyone who weaponizes the course against someone, words, uses unconstitutional laws, defamation, libel, slander, harassment, etc., should be punished by law for trying to take away someone's First Amendment rights. Like it or not, you can lie per the First Amendment. If you don't like it, leave. I'm sick of the left, the enemy, take away people's rights, and retards not being smart enough to see. That is from a lumberjack. Only one comment so far, but there you go. I know a lot of people I thought were siding with Baldoni, but sure that must have hurt to see the lawsuits. But then again, you also hear a lot of defamation cases get thrown out. Sadly, we saw that with Vic. See, the thing with this is to me, this just seems like a bunch of he said, she said stuff. Vic's case, there was clearly like behind the scenes talk and stuff happening. But sadly, it didn't happen. Alas. But there you go. If anybody was interested in the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds things, I still think that their images are severely damaged. $400 million lawsuit. Yep. I still think this still looks bad for Blake and Ryan for sure. But also, obviously, it's hurting Justin Baldoni as well. But apparently, he's determined to seek the justice that he thinks he should get. Right, hopping on over to Tech for Game. Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake apparently will feature an original multiplayer mode called Fox Hunt, Konami reveals. Konami last year announced that it plans to preserve the Metal Gear Solid IP for up to the next 50 years, and it has already taken the first steps with Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. Now they've revealed an original multiplayer mode called Fox Hunt. However, the reveal brings sad news as the original fan favorite Metal Gear Online. I have never heard anyone praise Metal. I'm sorry. I thought that Ryan Reynolds is unlikable. I liked him back in the day, won't lie, I liked him with Deadpool stuff, but yeah, I mean, you learn about a lot of stuff. Was I a super fan of him? Not really, but I mean, you heard it from even the one guy from Deadpool that he was an ass. So that sucks. However, is being replaced by this new version, which focuses more on advanced camouflage and stealth than just shooting. The new Fox Hunt mode wants to replace the Metal Gear Online multiplayer experience that came with the classic Metal Gear Solid 3, so the community reaction has been quite mixed. I have never heard anyone saying, I'm going to be hopping online to do Metal Gear Online. Never heard that. So in a new video, Fox Hunt Mode's director, Yu Shihara, reveals that the gameplay, quote, is more than a shootout. It will consist of back and forth tension, of staying hidden or searching out the enemy, create intense moments. Oh, that's just a picture. Tech for Gamers, why would you not include the trailer? I guess the new video's here. We could just open it. Here you go. If it loads, that'd be fantastic. Go.
I'm Yu Sahara, the director for Fox Hunt mode in Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
Hi.
Fox Hunt is completely...
Alright, let's just...
The game with Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, the gameplay is completely different. When we say Metal Gear multiplayer, many fans will probably think of Metal Gear Online, but Fox Hunt will be its own new type of mode. Fox Hunt will probably think of Metal Gear Online, but Fox Hunt will be its own new type of mode.
I don't know. I never played Metal Gear Online.
We very much appreciate all the long
Was that in
fans of
3?
MGO
I thought
always wanted
I
to
might
see
be
it make a
thinking of Metal
comeback,
Gear
But the
Survival.
landscape of multiplayer games has changed a lot since MGO.
Or it's just talking about any
It
of
took
the
a
Metal
lot of
Gears
careful
that had an
consideration to
online
think
mode.
about
I don't
what a
know.
new online mode should
Obviously
look like.
goes to show that I never played it.
Based on the iconic stealth and survival
whatever.
elements in the Metal Gear series, we are taking camouflage and hide and go seek to the next level.
Okay.
We challenged ourselves to make something
ンセプトで、フォックスハントしていただければと思います。いやならではしていただければと思います。
Okay, so they're challenging something to make something nice and new. They're apparently showing the some behind the scenes footage.
Delta, Snake Eater.
There you go. Fox Hunt is a completely original online multiplayer mode. Based on the iconic stealth and survival elements of the Gear series, we take camouflage and hide and go to the next level, as we heard. He explains that Konami replaced Metal Gear Online with Fox Hunt because multiplayer games have undergone major changes over the past 21 years. So the Metal Gear Solid 3, Delta, Snake Eater, Remake is set to release on August 28th, 2025 for the XS, PC, and PS5. Game's preview so far has been positive, pointing to a faithful remake. I hope it remains that way. Konami is also allegedly working on a Metal Gear Solid 4 remake, but we haven't heard anything official yet. And Metal Gear Solid 6 is rumored to start development on the performance of the remakes and collections. How can you make a Metal Gear Solid 6 without Kojima? Then we've got Raul over on YouTube subscribing. Thanks. But there you go. This didn't really go into why people were mixed about it. But supposedly some people are. There's some Metal Gear Solid 3 updates for you. So, obviously, with the Switch 2 coming out, there's still a lot of talk about it, a lot of buzz, a lot of commentary, all that fun stuff. Jump on over to Video Game Chronicle, which says Switch 2 is by far Japan's biggest ever console launch, likely clearing 1 million. Famitsu sales data shows the Switch sold 3 times more than the Switch 1 at launch. Published hardware sales data for the week ended 8th covers the Switch 2's first 4 days on sale in Japan, revealing that some 947,000, pretty much almost close to 948,000 consoles were sold. More impressively, this data is unlikely to include sales on Nintendo official My Nintendo store, which almost certainly takes Switch Japanese debut to over 1 million units. Well, this doesn't make sense. Why are you just guessing? Like, to me, this sounds like a guess. Like, it would almost certainly take Switch 2's Japanese for 1 million. It's like, well, I don't want almost certain. Like, tell me what the numbers are. But in any case, sales figures means the Switch 2 is by far the biggest console launch in Japan. According to the Game Data Library, a site that archives Japanese sales data from various sources, including Mitsu, previous fastest selling console in Japan was the PlayStation 2 with just over 630,000 units sold. Game Boy Advance managed 611,000 first week, and Nintendo DS sold just over 468,000. The original Switch sold 330,637 units a week, nearly 3 times less than its successor has now managed. Switch 2's Japanese launch success comes as little surprise, considering Nintendo has dominated the Japanese sales charts for 20 well, of course, per VGC analysts. At over 35 million sales total, the Switch is almost Japan's best-selling console to date, beating yes. So according to Famitsu data, 5 Switch 2 games appeared in the top 10 software chart in their launch week. Got Mario Kart World, sold a huge 780,566, giving it an attach rate of at least 80%. These sales did not include digital. Then you got Ruin Factor, The Legend of Zelda Switch Edition, Tears of the Kingdom, and Breath of the Wild. Yakuza 0 Director's Cut also appeared in the top 10. Earlier this week, Nintendo announced that the Switch 2 had sold 3.5 million units globally in its first 4 days on sale, making it the fastest selling Nintendo system ever and likely the biggest ever console launch. In comparison, PlayStation's 5 shipped, not sold, 3.4 million units in the first 4 weeks on sale and 4.5 million in the first 7 weeks, So Sony's console suffered from significant stock shortages. The huge start of Nintendo 2 will give Nintendo a boost target of 15 million for its first business year, or even beating this number, which many analysts predicted. And we literally just read all these games. I'm not saying only one that's different is the Welcome to. Anybody bought that is retarded. So good for the Switch 2. I'm not gonna get one anytime soon, and I hope it gets emulated up to wazoo and cracked. Because I have issues for a company that thinks they have the right to brick your console and to play on people's emotion and shills. Like, to me, the Switch 2 straight up feels like an experiment just to see how dumb people will be in terms of buying the Switch, like buying Nintendo products that are just now coming up to date with like the technology that's been available for a while. That's honestly how I think about it. And it clearly shows that a lot of people are indeed going to do it. They don't care, sort of thing. But, you know, who am I to stop them? I wouldn't stop them, but it's just I just don't like it. Out of all of the talking points for the Switch 2, my biggest thing is the bricking. That's my biggest pick. Is that to me is straight up disgusting. The Nintendo Brick 2, pretty much. Niche Gamer also mentioned it. 33.5 million. 4 days. Launch worldwide June 5th, as we know. Got your bundles here. The brief blurb on the console. The larger, more responsive screen and magnetic Joy-Con controllers with more powerful processing and graphics performance that opens the door to new ways to play. Yet, like, all this just to say that it's finally caught up with like all the other technology that's been out there for a while. With the system's new game chat feature, players can voice or video chat or share their games with friends online while playing a game with a simple press of the C button on the Joy-Con 2 controller. The lineup. All right, we've already read the lineup. Oh yeah, this is an affordable priced offer for those considering the purchase of both systems. Yeah, that too. That's the other thing that upsets me with Nintendo is them thinking that, we're not going to make a huge deal in charging $80 games. It'll be on a case by case, level, but it's like, but because you're going to be successful with it, that other companies are going to do the same thing and just auto slap on the highest price when their games are not worth. You could even make the argument some of Nintendo's games aren't worth $80, which they claim will be adjusted accordingly, but who knows? So you could say that the Switch 2 is indeed a console and also a handheld. You want to know what handheld did not hold up? The Xbox handheld. Apparently, Microsoft has reportedly canceled the dedicated Xbox handheld planned for next gen release. Womp womp. This comes from Tech for Gamers. So, aside from their collaboration with Asus for the Xbox ROG Ally, Microsoft has had another handheld in development, which was confirmed by Phil Spencer, the boss. The dedicated first party handheld was previously scheduled to release during the next gen console phase. However, a recent report suggested that Microsoft had sidelined the plans for its first party handheld to focus on the software side of things. Now, another report has claimed that plans for a dedicated handheld are now altogether scrapped. Oh. Now in the renaissance period of handheld consoles, with the majority of players entering the market as well as some of them revisiting, Microsoft was set to debut its first handheld console, but unfortunately that won't be happening more. According to The Verge's Tom Warren, the sources have claimed that the portable console is completely canceled. Microsoft made this decision to focus on Xbox's new software platform. Speculated that Microsoft backed down from this decision due to the threats faced in the handheld console space by Steam OS. The OS was shown to deliver better performance than Windows 11 on the Lenovo GS. Gaming giant is working to combine the best Windows and Xbox ecosystem handhelds. The first example of their new redefined software will be showcased with Xbox ROG Ally set to release. Oh yeah, and PlayStation working on one. Needs to be a handheld if you desperately want one that plays GOG. And then you can own it, you know, actually own your games, all that fun stuff on the go. I've been slowly trying to do my best to migrate from Steam to GOG, which I'm sad because they don't have Stellar Blade. I do want to get Stellar Blade because I really enjoyed the demo. Obviously, looks we have a Stellar Blade article pulled up here. That in a second. I just don't want to go get it through. Makes me sad. Of course, there'll be mods and stuff like that, but still. GOG. Yeah. Pretty much for me at this point, it's like give me a console and slash or a handheld that's literally, I mean, technically you can say any of these are a little mini computer, but straight up like, you know, best technology, GOG, own your game. Who knows? Maybe it is out there somewhere and I just don't know. Xbox still plans to deliver next-gen hardware with Asus and other manufacturers set to release devices that will be considered next-generation Xbox consoles. Nevertheless, expect next-gen Xbox releases to be Windows releases as the game giants double down on its pain. These are exciting yet nerve-wracking times for Xbox and fan base. Are there even still Xbox fans? If you see me moving my around, oh, the clavicle's still healing. But there you go. If you were looking forward to a dedicated Xbox handheld plan, sorry. Apparently dead. Ugh. Apparently just like my energy. Slowly dying. So, anybody out there Harry Potter fans at all? I wouldn't say I'm a super diehard Harry Potter fan, but it is something that is dear to me just because it was a bonding moment with me and my mom specifically. And we read all the books together, we saw the movie together. So, you know, with the whole HBO thing kind of makes me remember those days, whatnot. So Tom Felton recently announced about something with, I think, being involved with the first child or something like that. I don't know. But he's being a baller from the clip I saw. Because his response to J.K. Rowling's gender debate sparks media fury, but public reaction tells a different story. We all know about this. For anybody who's facts. Yep. So he's suddenly become the latest mainstream media target in an ongoing gender identity controversy. Not for saying anything controversial himself, but for doing something far more scandalous in 2025, thanking Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling. This is the thing I don't get. What with the stupid gender ideology and transgender stuff like that? What exactly with Harry Potter like did they latch onto that when J.K. Rowling said, you know, gave her thoughts about men being men and women being women? Like, where did these like groups come from? I still don't know where they manifest. Like, some of her stuff is like we know that she's retconned a lot of stuff, which is retarded. But this one just baffled. Like the whole gender ideology, like transgenders being pissed off at her just baffles. Because when you think of like my example, what I'm getting at is like, for example, take the anime. Anime came about pretty much from World War II, you know, the bombings, all that stuff. And that's kind of where anime came from. From there, there's a lot of subgenres. You got, you know, your mecha, your psychological thriller, you know, all this whatnot. And, you know, amongst the many subgenres out there, you've got your hentai and you've got your, you know, your gay shit and all that stuff. But thanks to the ideology of retarded Westerner localizations and voice actors, they're doing their best to try to replace the heart and soul of anime by saying that it was all about, you know, the LGBTQ, which it's 100% not. Like that's how I look at it. So that's how I'm looking at this of like where in the Harry Potter universe did they get this idea, you know, that attracted all these transgender, and then when she says this stuff, they all freaked out. That's how I look at it. Because with anime, like I said, it's an umbrella. And in that umbrella, there are many sub tiers. And, you know, your yaoi, yuri, gay shit is there. But, you know, with anime, they're trying to replace it to where that was always the heart and soul of anime. Clearly, it's. Anyway, so during an interview at the Tony Awards, Felton offered a brief and respectful comment about the woman who created the wizarding world that made him famous. That's what I love too. Like all of these fuckers wouldn't even be fans of Harry Potter. And I say that loosely, by the way, because who knows and how many of them are actually. But again, it's the thing. These people think that they somehow manifested Harry Potter into reality. When really, as much as you may not like the person, it's J.K. Rowling. So, but his comments, his respectful comments and very brief comments, was enough to make people mad. In the eyes of some outlets, expressing gratitude is now grounds for cancellation. So here's the video right here. Hold on to your hats, grab your butts, latch onto your seats, get ready for this terrible, terrible, terrible thing we're about to view that is giving thanks to J.K. Rowling. Get ready. You ready? Here we go.
How does the sort of Twitterverse controversy around J.K. Rowling's views impact you at all, or impact your work on the world at all?
No, I can't say it does. I'm not really that attuned to it. The only thing I always remind myself is that I've been lucky enough to travel the world. Here I am in New York, and I have not seen anything bring the world together more than Potter. And she's responsible for that, so I'm incredibly grateful.
My brain is melting. How could he say such a dastardly thing? My goodness gracious. He literally answered the guy's question. The guy tried to drag him in about like, what are your thoughts on all the, you know, stuff happening on X and stuff? And he's just like, dude, I don't pay attention for that. All I know is that the world was united with Potter. J.K. Rowling's was the idea behind it, and I'm thankful for that world that I could be a part of. That's it. But people are freaking out about this. Gosh, I'm so tired of these clowns. Here again is the quote that we just watched. So again, he goes, read all this insanity on X? No, I'm not that into. The only thing I always remind myself is I've been lucky enough to travel the world. I would not be able to, you know, not seen anything bring the world together more than Potter. And she's responsible for that, so I'm incredibly grateful. And look how he worded it, too. All he said was, yeah, Potter would not exist without her. And then he says, I'm incredibly grateful. So you could even make the argument that his I'm incredibly grateful is not towards J.K. Rowling's. I'm incredibly grateful that there's this universe that J.K. Rowling's made called Harry Potter, and I was able to be a part of it. You could like easily see it as that as well. But again, regardless if it was verbatim, I am thankful for J.K. Rowling's for creating Harry Potter because I'm a part of it, or how he worded it just fine right here. People need to shut up and piss off. But the internet had barely digested the quote before headlines exploded, and not with nuance. Media pushes manufactured gender backlash. Tom Felton. This, by the way, this is again from that Park Place. So major entertainment sites quickly framed Tom Felton's mild response as a public race and painted the picture of a man being torn to shreds by the good, decent folk of the world who were utterly disgusted with him for these comments. Again, yeah, I didn't even. Mild is like just the beginning of that article, of this comment. So within hours, articles appeared with titles like this: Tom Felton sparks backlash after expressing gratitude to J.K. Rowling. Harry Potter star Tom Felton faces major backlash from Potterheads for his, quote, admiration of J.K. Rowling. I'm so tired of Harry Potter actors failing to meet the moment, and Tom Felton's backlash is deserved. Who's the fag who said that? Piss off. Harry Potter fans tear into Tom Felton's response to J.K. Rowling's views. Tom Felton sparks backlash with atrocious J.K. Rowling's comments. None of these people are fans. I'm going to say it right now. None of these people were fans. They're just in there at the moment because they're upset that J.K. Rowling's said that when a person, a human being, has a penis or a vagina, you're a male or you're a female, and it doesn't work any other way. Message was clear. Felton had crossed the line. The headlines weren't just reporting criticism. They were crafting a narrative. One where Felton's grace was treated as betrayal and where Rowling's name remains radioactive even when mentioned without judgment. But scroll beyond the headline, navigate over the actual Variety X post that started it all, and you'll find something media conveniently ignored. Support for Tom Felton, and lots of it. Yep. Despite the attempt to frame the situation as another Potter star under fire moment, the actual response from fans and casual observers have been far more balanced, if not overwhelmingly supportive. While it's true that some progressive accounts condemned Felton, calling him a coward just like Malfoy, and accusing him of speaking from a place of privileged indifference, but these voices were quickly met by a chorus of pushback. Yeah, yeah, I saw some people getting butthurt and was like, well, he hasn't even been in anything good ever since. Like, oh my gosh. And you have, Thank goodness someone in the franchise learned not to bite the hand that feeds Lucy the Great. But you're not so great, Lucy. You keep pulling the football away for Charlie Brown to kick it. Turns out the villain was the good guy after all. What a gracious, respectful reply. It is. It's the most modest, like what that Park Place said. It's the most like generic response ever, you could say. It is the most neutral response. But no, you can't have neutrality anymore. It's either got to be this or this. And then the people who get upset that you don't think 100% their way get all butthurt about it. And it's getting to the point where they just need a nice beat. Others noted how Felton's respectful approach stood in contrast to former co-stars like Radcliffe, Watson, and Grint, who distanced themselves from Rowling in the name of social virtue. Did Rupert Grint distance himself? I know Watson for sure, and Radcliffe I saw. I didn't know about Grint. The only person who appreciates Rowling for the life she's basically. Strange how the villain lived long enough to become the hero. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of comments like that. Most reasonable reply to an obvious trap question from a dishonest journalist. Well done. This is true. This is actually quite true. Like, yeah, anytime a journalist, like, I feel like this is the lesson for anybody. If you ever get famous, you're getting interviewed. The journalist has to start off by saying, with all the stuff happening that's being said on X or something along those lines, be prepared for a trapped question. The outpouring of agreement and support from Tom Felton and his refusal to condemn Rowling's gender stance continues on and on throughout the thread, flying in the face of the mainstream media narrative of a progressive dogpile on the actor. The growing sentiment is hard to ignore. People are tired of manufactured outrage. Felton didn't endorse any political position. Exactly right. He didn't debate gender. True. He simply acknowledged Rowling's impact, and for that, the press lit torches. See, that's the thing. It's because it's not just that, it's because these people were not in the origin of whatever it is. I say this plenty of times with any already established franchises, but this just shows on how much of the script that these people push. This is why they go after already established franchises. This is why they do this sort of wording, this sort of mental gymnastics, this wordplay, all this stuff. This is what they do. It's because the deep, cold heart of the matter is they had nothing to do with the origin story. They had nothing to do. They had no participation in it. All of this came from Rowling's head. And they're pissed off because their life is so uneventful, is so, low self-esteem that they need to do whatever it can to self-insert themselves to make them feel important somehow. Now, I would tell you that, go read the scripture and turn to God, and you'll realize just how much his love alone should for you to go out and, better yourself and all that stuff. These people don't want to. They have to, any way, shape, because they are the most uncreative, unenthusiastic, worms out there. That's why they have to bastardize everything. And then they wonder why none of their shit sells. So then they just slap on the projection of the racism and all that stuff. So J.K. Rowling's herself a victim of heinous abuse, has remained firm in her views, defending sex-based rights and frequently alleging activist-driven changes to gender definition. If I can talk right, that would be amazing. She has openly criticized former Potter stars for siding against her, stating celebs who cozied up to a movement intent on eroding women's hard-won rights save their apologies for traumatized detransitioners and vulnerable women reliant on sex spaces. But despite this, her grip on the franchise remains strong. The upcoming HBO reboot of Harry Potter has Rowling listed as the executive producer, even though she herself claims that she can't do anything about Papa, whatever the fuck that guy's name is, Black Snape guy. Even though now there's supposed rumors that he might be replaced, which I hope so, because that was the dumbest decision they have ever done. He literally became, what was his name? Shacklebolt? Literally so many other characters that guy could have played, but they went with Snape. J.K. Rowling has a right, and that's the other thing too. You got to remember that she's still very woke in a lot of other stuff. Just because she's based on the gender situation doesn't mean she's based on other stuff. We saw this because, her explanation of Dumbledore changed way back in the day. HBO is stirred by her issuing that she has a right to express her personal views. We remain focused on the development of the new series, which will benefit from her involvement. So the bottom line is that the Tom Felton gender debate isn't really about gender at all. It's about whether people are still allowed to speak gratefully about someone the media has blacklisted. Felton said something honest, measured, and appreciative. Again, I pointed out, you could even make the argument that that wasn't that those two sentences didn't have any connection. But regardless, return, he was labeled a traitor by headline writers who never bothered to reflect what people were actually saying. The irony, while the press claimed Potter fans were tearing him apart, the fans were actually lifting him. Turns out the real magic is honesty. Tom Felton might be the last wizard willing to use it. There you go. That was a good, solid article, I thought. And his backlash. All right. Stellar Blade. Grabbing a off drop. So Stellar Blade has become second PlayStation published game to pass 100,000 concurrent players. And we all know about those concurrent players. The newly released PC port has overtaken Ghosts of Tsushima, God of War, and Spider-Man. PC port of the game was released on Wednesday and has seen its concurrent player count continue to grow, gradually grow since then. At the time of this specific writing, this again from Video Game Chronicles, the concurrent player count has just passed six figures with a current all-time peak of 100,904 players. Damn. Makes the game, which is published on Steam by Sony under its PlayStation Publishing LLC arm, only the second PlayStation game to hit six figures. Still, it's got some ways to beat the other, however, and that would be Helldivers 2 was an enormous success when it released last year, eventually hitting an all-time peak 450,709 players. Then you got a list of your top 10 all-time peaks for PlayStation team. Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, Director's Cut of Tsushima, God of War, Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, Horizon Zero Dawn, Forbidden West, Last of Us Part 1, Ragnarok Part 2 Remastered. Haha. The PC version of Stellar Blade includes 5 new costumes, boss battle, support for DLSS and FSR, higher resolution texture, ultra-wide support, and more. The official announcement of the PC version shipped up confirmed that PS5 members will receive content via update. And then it confirmed it's planning a sequel to the PlayStation 5 action game. Projected release window that's sooner than many might have expected. Ooh. Company's latest financial results included a graph showing its future plans. It listed Stellar Blade's platform expansion sequel. Assuming platform expansion refers to this week's PC version, I would suggest that Stellar Blade 2 could release this year, an unprecedented turnaround for a modern AAA game, and it was released for the PlayStation 5 last year. It has claimed that sales of the game has exceeded 1 million units. There you go. I was reading this down here. VGC, I think, sides a little bit more to the left in terms of stuff. Stellar Blade looked to be popular with regions that don't have a high degree of console penetration. So seem like they're a little upset that kicking ass. Whatever. But yeah, definitely want to get Stellar Blade. I really wish I had a PS5 because I would get a physical copy of it. Maybe you guys can help me. Should I do a DSP? Guys, I need help. I will not be able to pay the bills as you guys, and in those bits. I do have a Rumble subscription and YouTube membership goals. But I always encourage people to support however they wish. All right. So the big thing. We are here, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the big talk. That is Spaceballs and Silent Hill. One remake comes from Deadline. That is Spaceballs 2. So I believe this was released on Mel Brooks's official X post. Here is the trailer of Spaceballs 2. 38 years ago, there was only one Star Wars trilogy. Since then, there has been a prequel trilogy, a sequel to the prequel, a prequel to countless TV spin-offs, a movie spin-off of the TV spin-off, which is both a prequel and a sequel. Not to mention 2 Dunes, 7 Jurassic Parks, 2 avatars plus 3 upcoming avatars, making 5 avatars. 36 MCU movies with 2 different Robert Downey Jr.'s. PSU attempt number 1. Number 2, an animated Lion King, a live-action animated Lion King, a live-action animated Lion King prequel, Harry Potter, a Harry Potter movie, or no, 8 Harry Potter movies. And then it's kind of gone. I do like this. But in 38 years, always only ever been one. Baseball. Till now. Aw, yeah.
After 4
Here you go.
years, we asked, what do the fans want? But instead, we're making this movie.
Sports
May the Schwartz be with you.
He is 98. That is absolutely insane. And it makes me sad. Gene Wilder, just a lot of the people that I grew up with, they're getting there. Not they're leaving. There you go. Now, I'm definitely interested in this because it is Mel Brooks, and I'm wondering what kind of jokes are going to be inside of this movie. Because let's be real. I mean, we all know what's happening with Hollywood. A lot of the stuff said back in the day can't be, well, they can be said now, but we know progressive, retarded, woke ideology, that's taboo. This is Mel Brooks we're talking about. I kind of have hope that a lot of those jokes can still be put in there because it's Mel Brooks. He's 98. I guarantee you he doesn't give a shit. So, like, that would be absolute. But anyway, so this comes from Deadline. Bill Pullman, Lone Star, and Rick Moranis returns for new Spaceballs. Keke Palmer also set the dish. No idea who this is. Of course, you got to have, gonna say it, got to have that DEI in there. So, looks like they are indeed set to reprise their respective roles as President Scroob in Dark Helmet. Wait, Bill Pullman was not president. It was Lone Star, if I'm not mistaken. Mel Brooks was president. And he was also Yogurt. My interesting thing is who's going to replace John Candy? Because John Candy. President. I love it. So it's going to be from Amazon MGM Studios with this person, one of them days. I have never, this is what bothers me. Never heard of any of these. Joining the cast. Headline. One of them days. It's literally a 2025 comedy, tragic comedy. Well, I guess I should actually look up that actress. What has she been in that's like worth any? Gosh. I am on the Wikipedia page and like specific part about her her personal life and then her sexuality. All right, but I'm okay. So she started back in 2004 with Barbershop too, back in business. So there you go. That more than enough sets the idea of what you think a lot of Currently, she was Peaches in Ice Age Continental Rift. So far, that's the only, like, I've heard of Barbershop, but I haven't watched it, nor do I have any plan to watch Winx Club. Yeah. The, so far, the only thing that I know for certain, like, I've actually seen, I know it's rather big, is Ice Age. Other than that, don't know any of these other ones. Oh, she was in Lightyear, because that did so well. So yeah. So anyway, Amazon declined to comment, and character details for Palmer are under wraps, as is the sequel's plot. The addition of Moranis is particularly striking, as the actor hasn't been seen much on screen in decades. As announced this morning, the original film's director and star Mel Brooks will also the cast, once again reprising his role as Yogurt. Just saying that out loud just makes me laugh. Slated for release in theaters of 2027, the film has been described by those who have not yet read the script as, quote, a non-prequel, non-reboot sequel part 2, but with the reboot element franchise's expansion. That is amazing. Josh Greenbaum, Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, will direct from a script by Benji Samit, Dan Hernandez, and fucking Josh Gad. Why? Why is he in everything? What? Like fucking Patton Oswald, like Ghostbusters. Like, why? What's the point? As announced in June of last year, Gad is also expected to star and will produce alongside Imagine Entertainment's Brian Grazer and Jeb Brody Brooks and Greenbaum, with Kevin Salter, Adam Mimris, Samit, and Hernandez. I'm assuming all this for state. Oh my god. Well, anyway. They were released by MGM in 1987. The original Spaceballs is an iconic send-up of the sci-fi genre, which took inspiration from the Star Wars franchise and other classics like 2001: A Space Odyssey. It revolves around the evil Dark Helmet, played by Moranis, and President Scroob Brooks. So they get President Scroob right here, but they don't get it right up here. Oh my gosh. Good job, whoever proofread. Who attempt to steal the atmosphere of the peaceful planet Druidia, only to be thwarted by the hero Lone Star and his sidekick Barf, John Candy. The Druish princess Vespa, Daphne Zuniga. Others in the cast included Joanne Rivers and Dick Van Patten. Film grossed just over 38.1 worldwide, but has endured over the years as a cult classic. That's a nice face of Steve Carell right there. Otherwise best known for his turns in iconic works like Independence Day. Don't forget Casper. He was the dad. David Lynch's Lost Highway. Pullman has recently been seen starring in series like The Sinner, as well as films including The High Note and Dark Waters. Upcoming, he has the Duffer Brothers Netflix series, The Bowruffs, A24's famous opposite Zac Efron, and more. An iconic of the 80s and 90s, Moranis rose to fame with roles in Ghostbusters, Little Shop of Horror, the Honey I Shrunk the Kids films, and more. After writing and starring in famed Canadian sketch series SCTV, famously, he, for the most part, stepped away from acting in the late 90s, focusing on raising his children following the passing of his wife, costume designer Amy Belsky. Most recently, he teamed up with Ryan Reynolds on a 2020 ad for Mint Mobile, and I've seen that. But yeah, Moranis is based. Palmer is coming off of success with One of Them Days and TriStar buddy comedy where she opposite Diza, which recently got a sequel set up for. Yeah, but then I don't. This is why I don't like this sort of crap. Coming off the success of One of Them Days, and it's like 2025, so recently, and she's just like, we need that person. A break. Which recently got a sequel set up for development. Next, she'll be seen in The Pickup, Amazon's heist comedy, out August 6th, opposite Eddie Murphy. And it's just listing a bunch of stuff I don't care about. Pullman is repped by CAA, Moranis by Bailey Brand Management, Nelson Davis, and Palmer by 3 Arts and Hertz Liechtenstein. But there you go. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about a new Spaceballs coming. I am a little curious. I feel like I would go out and see it, but I am curious how they're going to handle the jokes now. So speaking of another remake, Konami has confirmed it's working on Silent Hill 1 remake, but alas, with team Silent Hill 2 remake developers working on a second game. The announcement was made during a Konami digital showcase on Thursday, or at least right now, we're at 10 p.m. Central Time, my time, when the company's logos was displayed alongside the Silent Hill 2 logo and the words development. Statement later confirmed we are working with Bluebird Team on a remake of Silent Hill, originally released in PlayStation in 1999. Konami and Bluebird Team first announced earlier this year that they would be working together again on a new game, but the pair did not specify if it was Silent Hill series. Trust built on the success of Silent Hill 2 laid the foundation for signing another agreement with the project, the studio said in a press release. The deal aligns with Bluebird Team's plan to expand its internal development division within a first-party framework. Then we can watch this here. Manga says another remake. I honestly wouldn't mind seeing a Silent Hill remake. I want to see a freaking Metal Gear Solid 1 remake. Like, people have been asking that forever. Nintendo's the only one that's done it. Twin Snakes, but they're never going to release that. Again, my biggest thing is what are they going to change? Because we saw what they did with Silent Hill 2 with, feminine features and all that stuff. Some stuff that should not have been touched at all, like the Pyramid Head scene, the infamous Pyramid Head scene, which totally helps tell the story, no matter how disturbing it is, because it represents James's sexual frustration and also his punishment. All that stuff. So we'll see what happened. Like I said, got to give credit where credit is due. In Silent Hill 2 being successful, but they literally made it a Resident Evil remake setup, which really isn't a Silent Hill. But in any case, it added, although details of the project remains a mystery, it confirmed that the game will be based on Konami's intellectual property. Konami will continue as both the publisher and rights holder of the game. In a statement made by Bluebird Team CEO Piotr Babione added, our collaboration with Konami has been incredibly fruitful, and the success of Silent Hill 2 speaks for itself. By sharing knowledge and experience, we have been able to create higher quality productions together. I really see phrases like this really piss me off. The success of Silent Hill 2 speaks for itself. Yeah, because you put in just enough bastardizing of the original that people were willing to overlook it and made it successful. Like, I hate that crap. Exactly like what Baldur's Gate 3. Like, Baldur's Gate 3 carry the charm and magic from like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2? I would say no, not even close. There's a bunch of unnecessary debauchery in Baldur's Gate 3, but you can ignore that or straight up kill like those types of people, which I did. I was a paladin. I was smiting the heathens left and right in that game. I killed the vampire guy right away when he tried sucking my blood. Stabbed that guy right in the chest without a second thought. Take that, mofo. Of course, we can't reveal too many details at this time, but we are confident that fans will be just as excited about our collaboration as we are. We can't wait to share something truly special with players when the time is right. Silent Hill 2 was released last October to widespread critical acclaim and currently has a Metascore of 87 on PC and 86 on PS5. Silent Hill 2 review. Well, this would be the video game Chronicles Silent Hill 2 review. Says the remakes proves the doubters wrong, calling it a faithful take on a survival classic horror game. Dude, it was not faithful. They changed a good chunk of stuff that made Silent Hill 2 Silent Hill 2. I'm sorry. Despite the fact that the original creator was stressful with the camera element back in the day due to limited technology, that's kind of what made Silent Hill 2 Silent Hill 2. You made fun of the people who knew Silent Hill 2 with what's her face's outfit. You insulted them by previewing it saying, "Oh, it's here, but she's not going to wear it." Okay, assholes. And then of course the infamous pyramid head scene. And even changing Eddie's thing, getting rid of the little pizza thing. Even changing his death where James just looks at his hand. As opposed to commenting that like the whole point like of him claiming he never killed the and which the big twist at the end of Silent Hill 2, him murdering his wife. Spoilers, but whatever, you should know about this. Oh. But it's just like those changes are enough changes to actually do change what made Silent. My favorite was people not figuring out supposedly in Silent Hill 2 like what to do to handle the enemies when literally my first thing would be shoot them in the leg so they stutter and then bash them with the wood. Oh, brother. So Niche Gamer also has this covered, but looks a little bit lesser. Not much is known about it. Get their remake Silent Hill 2 remake review, and then there's the trailer. Well, let me know what you guys think about that. Will they be more faithful to Silent Hill 1? I hope so. As far as I'm concerned, both Silent Hill 2 and the Silent Hill 1 literally should just be a 1-for-1. Again, look at how Shadow of the Colossus did. Granted, it was made by the same team, but for heaven's sakes, they did like the best version of what a remaster should be. And any additional stuff they added to the story without changing anything. But that's kind of all I had for tonight. Oh, I did have this, by the way. Mugen. Over on X here, we read last stream about the SAG-AFTRA finally coming to the conclusion. Guess this guy he got like flagged in terms of this video that he took. Says they're mass reporting it. So a lot of people are pissed off of what he revealed. I watched the video a little bit. Says, well, it didn't take long. SAG-AFTRA voice actor along with a negotiating committee member are trying to actively take down his video by mass reporting it. They're scared and it shows it because it does reveal on how fucking scummy SAG-AFTRA is, which is no fucking surprise whatsoever. Like, unions are retarded. No matter how much they try to incentivize that they're doing this for the lesser people, the people in power will never, ever, ever, ever give up their power. But what's interesting is that Jennifer Hale actually responded to this by saying transparency is good, that healing is most important. It's been an incredibly difficult and divisive time. There's much work to do for our community and our industry back together. Unfortunately, I hate to say, Jennifer Hale, that people like you and people, for example, that Mugen points out here, Haley Mills, who I believe is relative to Demon Mills, that PDF weirdo, was not happy about Hale responding. Mugen says, they just never learn, man. Kaylee, this was never about invading a safe space. This was about exposing a suicidal agenda by SAG-AFTRA committee members that was only talked about behind closed doors. About facing accountability and skill that you seem to lack. And what she said here is she is mad that Jennifer Hale said transparency is good by stating you are enabling drama tubers and making people in your community feel unsafe airing their frustrations while trying to navigate a really tough situation in a private space. I really hope you simply didn't understand how harmful this could be. You're hurting your community. This woke ideology language is so fucking tiring and so annoying and stupid. The truth is people like Kaylee here are actually the ones that hurt the community. You hurt the community because you never really, because to me, it seems like you never really cared about the community. You saw a community to where outcasts and stuff like that uh seem to gather, but not super gather like all together in harmony. Like I said, anime is an umbrella. There's so many different subgenres, and let's be real, some people in fan communities are straight up assholes and they do not like other communities. And then when you woke ideology assholes infiltrated the localization, you start using words like this to try to rewrite what anime spirit and soul anime. I talked about this earlier. And this is prime example right here of this language in a drama tube, making people in your community feel unsafe, airing their frustration. You know, like this language just speaks for itself. It is so absolutely annoying and stupid. And this is why people like you are getting replaced with AI because people are tired of it. And the thing is, really localization isn't really that hard. Like let's be honest here. Especially nowadays where you can get scripts that give you verbatim what the lines are. All you have to do is fit the fucking mouth flaps, fit lines that are appropriate to the mouth flaps as close to the original lines as possible. And then when you're stuck with something, you don't use like this generation's like terminology like go what is it? Charisma, like going za or something, like whatever the retarded takes are now, like the retarded slang is. You don't need to use that. You use one that's neutral. I don't give a fuck on how stiff it is, but I can guarantee you can find neutral words and phrases that can get across what what the original line is said, close as possible. But these people are mad because apparently Muujin here in his video has exposed the behind the scenes that were apparently in a Discord that you would think that all these people would stop hanging out in Discords, especially when this person has shown that there's clearly a whistleblower in there that has given them all the information. So why would you like these retards never learn? And remember, we see this like all the time with other people with mass reporting and all that stuff. So I started watching this guy's video a little bit, so I'd say check it out if it's still up. Last I watched it, it's still up. But the funny thing is I believe Jennifer Hale caved to the knee and then apologized. No, she got, oh my gosh, she got community noted. Haley Mills talks about making the community a safe space, but yet harassed Kenichi's new voice actor, Jacob Takanishi, and supported an abuser, Chris Nyosi. These are not actions that someone would take if they were trying to make the community a safe space for anyone. Dude, get wrecked, Mills. And they even have the tweet here. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, look at that ratio. Oh, get wrecked, turd. Oh, that's amazing. That's hilarious. But yeah, I believe Hale for oh gosh. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, she sadly caved to the knee. Either maybe because SAG after actually talked to her. But remember, folks, I believe Hale replaced Helena Taylor with Bayonetta. Now you got to ask yourself if Helena Taylor's claim that she did not get paid fairly for voicing Bayonetta was indeed true, would Jennifer Hale, out of the conscience of what they preach in SAG-AFTRA and what their ideology preaches, would she have stepped down from the role, said Helena Taylor needs to get this role and redo all the lines and give back the money? Would she have done that? My answer would be no, she wouldn't. But here you go. There was some deeply concerning behavior by some committee members during the strike, but SAG is still one of our strongest guardrails, good wages and working conditions. This is right here. This is where the lie is. Because if you go and watch Muujin's video here, you will learn that the higher ups in power do not care about the lowers. They claim they do, like pretty much where I was at in the video was talking about how they like literally got a lot of the stuff that they were claiming about, but it wasn't good enough because there were certain elements that they were really pissed off that they couldn't force people. That was specifically, I think, for like if they would go on strike again, they had certain rights that they could use to bully people or bully companies. And that's what they were mad about, and they didn't agree to what I know. So she said, I removed the video from my timeline so as not to fan the flames and give space for the community to work all this stuff out. Never apologize, never bend the mean, never bend the knee. But of course, will she be canceled from this? Because we know on the other side, people would get canceled for this immediately, and they would dangle this above their head, sadly, like what Vic did, unfortunately, and what happened to Vic. Hale is established well enough that they'll give her, of course, a free pass. I'm for reform and repair, not for burning the house down. Well, if the foundation is molded and disgusting, that's the only thing you need to do left. You need to burn the fucking house down and restart a foundation that's actually solid. It is okay to disagree in good conscience. I believe almost everyone did what they firmly believe this right. This is bag after talk right here. That's not true at all. I don't believe this. And coming together to make space for all diverse perspectives is important for. I don't believe this either because your diverse perspectives, if you would give them power, and we actually do see this a little bit, at least over here in Funimation, Texas, you give these people any sort of power, they will remove you from the industry. They will. Like, and this is why I do not feel sorry for anybody of SAG-AFTRA and the snakes over at Funimation / or I guess I should say Crunchyroll now. They are snakes that eat snakes. None of this was a problem back in the day because all of this shit was kept behind the scenes and it did not affect the final product. This is mandatory to be in the final project. And what happened? People finally got tired of it and your ass got replaced with AI. Jenny must not understand at all. Yeah, this is probably like fake talk. But that was the other thing too. So if people wanted to check this out, like go ahead. Muujin here, like he had a video that has way more detail, at least stuff that I saw from a different perspective. Let's be real. A lot of talk that you probably would find of SAG-AFTRA would try to paint them in a good light and stuff. But as you saw, apparently he struck a nerve because a lot of people were mass reporting and mass flagging the video. But let's go ahead and end the stream here by first making sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Right now, we were on Rumble, we're on X, we were on Twitch, on Kick, we're on YouTube. Follow me all over there and turn on notifications to get notified when I go live. And with that being said, let's go ahead and wind down with this day in gaming today and tomorrow. So, Hogan's Alley, one of the very first NES games. And like one of the, what is it called? The Black Label NES games. There you go. You got your StarCraft 64. F-Zero Maximum Velocity. There you go. You got Metal Slug 4 for Neo Geo. You got a Half-Life here. Naruto Ultimate Ninja 2. I actually still have a lot of the Tenchu Metal Gear Online. There you go. Oh, big one right here. Metal Gear Solid 4. Guns of the Patriots. I'm sure Blabs missed that one. Oh, got Gravity Rush. Great game. And Gravity Rush 2 was awesome. You got Lollipop Chainsaw. Dang. Wow. This was a good list. There you go. And then for tomorrow, what games do we have? Ragnagard. Arcade games. Here you go. Another big one. Legend of the Dragoon. I've had people tell me. Good. Got a Kirby game. Canvas Curse for DS. Yoshi's Topsy Turvy. You're an Armored Core fan. Last Raven. Mega Man Battle Network 6. I heard some people like Mega Man. Street Fighter, or the Battle Network series. Street Fighter Alpha Anthology. There you go. A Prince of Persia Classic. 60. Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 2. Interesting. I don't know how good it is, but wait. Cadence of Hyrule, Crypt of the Necrodancer featuring The Legend of Zelda. That must I think that's a one of those, what is it, rhythm game. Five Nights at Freddy's, Secret of the Mimic. This one was actually not a bad list either. I'd say Legend of the Dragoon is the big one. Without Shogun Total War, if you're there, maybe Mega Man Battle Network and the Street Fighter one. But there you pups go. All I have for you tonight. I am going to off here. Let's. Ara is playing Stellar Blade. I need to get that. No one. Oh, I think she's doing it tomorrow. Not seeing anyone over that I'm following on YouTube. Buddy there. Alex Zedra is over on Rumble. Her. All right, you guys. You guys have a good rest of your night. God bless. And I'll flip side. Peace.